The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, has been pulled from operations near Venezuela in the Caribbean and is now heading to join the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Persian Gulf. Two carrier strike groups operating side by side in one of the most volatile stretches of water on the planet. President Donald Trump confirmed the move on February 13th, even as indirect nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran stalled in Oman. The signal is hard to miss. This isn't just about military muscle. Around 20 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz every single day, roughly 1 in 5 barrels of petroleum consumed anywhere in the world. Any disruption here doesn't just rattle financial markets, it shocks economies. That's the geography Iran controls, and that's exactly why America parks its largest warships here when diplomacy hits a wall. The Gerald R. Ford stretches over 1,100 feet from bow to stern. It displaces more than 100,000 tons of water. It carries upwards of 75 aircraft, fighters, electronic warfare jets, surveillance planes, and a crew of around 4,500 men and women. It runs on nuclear power, which means it doesn't need to stop for fuel. It can stay at sea for months. Launching aircraft off its deck is a feat of engineering in itself. The Ford uses an electromagnetic catapult system called EMALS that flings jets from a dead stop to flight speed in seconds along a short stretch of deck. Landing is, if anything, even more dramatic. A pilot brings a fighter in at around 130 knots, drops a tailhook from the aircraft's tail, and tries to snag one of 3 steel cables stretched across the deck. When it catches, those cables, connected to an energy-absorbing system below deck, bring the aircraft to a full stop in roughly 344 feet. The idea of launching planes from ships dates back to 1910, when American aviator Eugene Ely flew a fixed-wing aircraft off a naval vessel for the first time. Japan's Hosho, commissioned in 1922, became the world's first purpose-built carrier. The US Navy's Langley followed that same year, but it was World War II that changed everything. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a carrier-based strike on Pearl Harbor that crippled the American battleship fleet. The battleship era, the age of big guns and armor, ended almost overnight. What followed was the age of air power at sea. 6 months later, at the Battle of Midway, the United States got its answer. American carriers Enterprise, Hornet, and Yorktown caught Japan's fleet off guard, and over the course of the battle sent 4 of its elite fleet carriers to the bottom of the Pacific. Japan never fully recovered. By October 1944, at the Battle of Leyte Gulf, the largest naval engagement in recorded history, US carriers had become the backbone of Allied naval power. Hundreds of ships clashed across hundreds of miles of ocean. When it was over, the Imperial Japanese Navy had effectively ceased to exist as a fighting force. After the war, carriers proved just as valuable in smaller conflicts. During the Gulf War in 1991, the USS Theodore Roosevelt launched thousands of strikes against Iraqi forces. Decades later, the USS Harry S. Truman conducted sustained precision airstrikes against ISIS from international waters without needing permission from anyone. None of this is without cost or controversy. The Ford's crew is staring down a deployment that could stretch beyond 8 months. These are real people, away from families, in a region where miscalculation can escalate fast. Critics also point to an evolving threat environment, hypersonic missiles, drone swarms, and so-called carrier killer weapons being developed by both China and Iran. And then there's China. The US Department of Defense projects that China's naval battle force could reach 435 ships by 2030. America is watching 2 fronts at once. But for now, the focus is the Gulf. Will 2 carrier strike groups be enough to push Iran back to the negotiating table? Can maximum military pressure produce a verifiable nuclear deal, or does it harden positions on both sides? And if something goes wrong out there, a miscalculation, a provocation, or incident that spirals, what happens to the 20 million barrels of oil the world depends on every day? Those questions don't have easy answers, but the ships are already moving.